the inconvenience there. I'm a little late today. Gotta find the stream here. All right, here we go. Whoever's here, make sure you let me know you can hear me okay. I have my microphone on, I just want to make sure it's working properly. It's 100 degrees in New York City today. We're printing one of the last colors for this print. I did one test print already. Just gonna jump right into it. I did one test print already, and this is way too cool down here for me. So I need to change these colors a little bit. So I'm gonna just take all of this pigment here, put it into a new pile. So I want to leave this pile. So I want it to be a little bit more warm throughout. I want there to be a little gradation, but I want it to be warmer. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of yellow into this mixture. Take all this too. I'm going for a neutral. Color here. I want there to be a little bit of variety. Morning, Pam. Yeah, I'm really late today. I'm unprepared at the moment, but I'm just trying to get situated. I'm getting really frustrated with this print because it's taken so long, and I've lost the motivation on this print. So it was a learning experience, this one. Well, let's see how it goes today. So that might be better. It's a warmer color than what we have. Let me just get a paper towel. Pam, can you hear me okay? Or do I seem distant on the microphone? I'm just checking. And today I have a fan going and the air conditioner on because it's 100 degrees in New York City. It's unbearable heat. So again, we're going to do the 2 rollers for this one. There's still a little bit of that cool color on there from last time, and that's okay. I'm just going to kind of let that mix in. You can see you can alter your colors as you go along. All right, thanks, Pam. I appreciate that. You can change your colors. If it's not working, you just have to scrape it up, clean it, and then continue to work that gradation back into the roller. When you're doing a gradation, you kind of can do a little bit of a crisscross pattern. Spread that ink out a little bit. And really the gradation is just happening towards the top. Let me bring some of this down by rolling. Just so it's mixing on the palette. You can see that in the, hopefully you can see that. Adjust this a little bit. We're gonna ink our block. I had to use a new block to carve this impression, so I had to start from a new. So the other side of the block here is where I was working, and I just flipped it over and used this side. It's a bunch of particles, chips of wood. And this, I gotta clean it up for next time. Make sure the kento is clean. And here we go. Almost dropped the print in the ink. I'm just using our ball bearing Baron today. Light pressure on this block. There's a lot of little pieces up on the top here, so I don't want to crush it with my Baron. Let's see what this looks like. I need a piece of cardboard so I can show you. Just set it up here for now. And it's strange because I don't even know if I need this impression. It just added a little bit of highlight, a little bit of yellow. Just kind of accents the light on the rock. I've been looking at this print for so long I don't even know like what it looks like. I'm just kind of tired of looking at it. If that makes any sense. I don't know if any of you out there have worked on a piece for so long that you just don't see it anymore. You can't see it clearly. So I don't know, let me know in the comments if you think these colors are working. I kind of like that there's a transition of yellow to this cooler gray down here, almost purple. There's a lot of colors in here. They're all subtle gray colors, variations of cool and warm grays building on top of each other. So all we have left to do is this rope and this little piece sling and this carabiner here, and it'll be finished. Yeah, just a couple more. Just this rope, the carabiner, and the draw, and that's in the rock, the piece of gear that's in the rock, and this thing's done. So I'm just gonna walk over to the mirror over here. I like to look at these things in the mirror. Follow my gut instinct and say this is good enough. I'm putting this in the drying rack now, and I'm just going to keep going on this. Losing energy on this print. I'm just so excited to get started on my next works, the next print. I'm almost finishing carving a key block for my trees and my cliff print. And I've been enjoying carving that because that's actually American cherry. This is the Shina plywood, and it's not very fun for me to carve, especially with all the details. Shina plywood is nice if you're carving larger flat shapes, but with this small detail stuff, I'm not a big fan of it. I prefer the American cherry. I'm just gonna bring this yellow color down a little bit further. Just gonna work these colors back and forth a little. I'm always checking the edges to make sure I have no ink on the margins. So here we go again. Paper. Extra floppy today. Cardboard today. Yeah, it's better. I guess I'm liking that. And once this ink dries, it will darken a little bit, I think. Yeah. So that's that. Not too much to say. So the registration, because I cut a new block, I have to inspect the registration really well one more time. And it's looking good. Everything's lining up. There's nothing that's overlapping that's very obvious. It's looking good on the margins. I think it's a nice clean registration. You know, it looks different in person than it does on camera. I'm happy with it. So just keep going. A lot of ink on this roller. I don't have to go crazy when I load it. Yeah, it took me a while again to carve this section. I went on a little camping trip with my family for 3 days last weekend. So I've just been busy. if anything, I learned a lot of lessons with this print. I've learned that taking this print to an extreme with the amount of impressions and the amount of reduction I can get out of 1 or 2 blocks. And I'm learning how to use the water-based pigments in the background and then the oil-based pigments in the rock and see how they relate and how they work together side by side. But I've also learned that working this way takes a lot of time, it's a lot of effort, and I don't even know if it's necessary to get something that's this detailed. I think you can get this more simplified, get a similar image like this, more simplified with a different approach. So there's things that I learned that I won't do again, and there's other interesting things that I've learned along the way, especially with the mokuhanga and the oil-based pigment side by side, and it actually really works well. So definitely will be doing this again, but I will be doing it with many less impressions. I like to keep my impressions between like 8 and 12 impressions at the most. That seems like a reasonable number. Keeps things moving along. I'm also going to get back into some linoleum soon. So after this one, we'll have to do a side-by-side comparison. I hope everyone's staying hydrated, staying cool out there. Heat is unbearable, but it's supposed to cool down tomorrow and Friday. It'll be back in the 70s. I have to show you the print. Let me get a piece of cardboard so we can do a side-by-side comparison. Hold on 1 second. Here's the before, here's the after. I don't know, I kind of like the before better. Strange. I may have just ruined the print on the last impression. I don't know, I think this highlight, it will tone down a little after it dries. It's a little harsh at the moment because it's so fresh. Once it dries, it'll kind of that was my worry this whole time, where I was going to ruin this print right at the end stages and just kind of waste all this time. But I think it's working. It's adding another level of value to the rock, and kind of like a highlight or a glistening of the light. Yes, it's the reflection of the light, and it is reflected light in there. It's like it's in shadow really, so there's not a direct light, So you're really getting this reflective kind of light off the clouds. And I think it's the texture in the clouds and the sky, that kind of spotty pattern of light. Hey Matt, yeah, it is adding some more contrast and depth, so you got to put it next to you got to put it side by side to see the difference, you know? So this is what you do when you're making a print. You gotta kind of make judgments and decisions based on what you're seeing from before and after. But yeah, it's kind of a nice little touch at the end. And like I said, as it dries, I think it'll set back in space a little bit. You can see I forgot to carve out the little carabiner, the draw that's in the piece that's in the wall. So here it's all white, and then on this one, I forgot to carve it out. But that's okay, because we're gonna cover it anyways with oil-based pigments. So yeah, we'll just keep going. And I wanted to add these like gradations because it just makes it a little bit more interesting for the viewer. And they're kind of, the gradation that's underneath this layer and this layer on top, they're kind of doing this weird thing with my eye right now. So that's going to take some time to adjust to it. Tons of pigment on these rollers. Is Matt, where are you, in Brooklyn, or are you in what Matt are you? I forget. Are you in South Africa, Matt? We'll have to cut another little block for this rope and this gear that's hanging on the wall. So I'll have to make another little jig, because I just need a very small sliver of wood for the rope. And then this print will be complete. Oh, Matt's in Tennessee, okay. Very cool. Everyone in the city has their air conditioning units blasting, and the power keeps like dipping. So hopefully we don't get a blackout. very light pressure at the top portion is what I need. This last print I made, let me get something up here. Last print I made had a little bit too much ink. I didn't like the way it looked. Some of the edges up here. It's a little bit too much ink. So I'm just going to take this piece of newsprint. And this newsprint is from a roll, so it always curls. Don't ever buy newsprint that's in a roll. It drives me nuts. You gotta try to flatten it now by creasing it. Always buy newsprint flat. So I'm gonna put this down and just gently blot this without moving the paper. Take off some of that ink a little bit. Yeah, that's looking better. Just need a little bit. It also happens a lot when I use this transparent base. The transparent base is very oily. So I'm not going to load this roller for at least a couple impressions, I think. I don't want so much pigment on there. It's nice and easy. This one either. Oops, sorry. To see what was going on outside. I'm gonna put a little ink on this time. today. That rock surface definitely has some texture now. I started doing some oil painting again. It's been really fun. It's been a while. I actually went to school for painting. That's where I learned. That's what I thought I wanted to do. But after college, I graduated in 2009 from art school here in New York City. I went to the New York Academy of Art, and it was a very traditional painting and drawing school. I really went there to learn how to paint like the old masters and learn all different sorts of painting techniques. And I learned a lot, and I really enjoyed the whole experience. I spent a lot of time studying the model and studying from life. Really got good at drawing. But I don't know, after doing it for so long, so intensely for a few years, I just needed a break from it. I just didn't think that break was going to be 14 years, 15 years. I do paint once in a while, but I haven't really seriously gotten into the practice again. But I discovered woodblock printmaking in the last 10 years. And I've really just been dedicating all of my time and all of my effort into printmaking the last 10 years. What I've learned from printmaking, I feel like it's now informing my oil painting in some way. What I've learned from printmaking is now informing my oil painting. Is that what I just said? I don't know. So I'm thinking about my oil painting differently than before, now that I have all this knowledge of woodblock printmaking. And they kind of, for me, they go hand in hand, especially with the color theory and the color development of prints and the layering of an oil painting. It's a very similar technique, it's just using a different medium. So I'm really enjoying painting again. And I have a couple larger works, not large, but like 12 by, or I think at 14 by 20 inches. This area here for this exhibition that I'm in. And I'm starting to like these colors now. They're really settling in. It's less of a shock for my eye from when we started. It's really starting to make sense. You're also getting a little bit of a glare from my window because this pigment is wet. It's very different in person. But the immediacy of the oil painting, you know, being able to sit down. I don't sit when I paint, I stand, but I stand when I carve and when I print as well. I don't sit while I work. I cannot sit. But the immediacy of the oil pigment and the amount of information you can get on the canvas in such a short amount of time is really what's appealing to me, I think. Because this takes so long, and I can do a whole painting in 2-3 days if I wanted to, if I have a good plan, or if I'm working from life out in nature. I can get a painting done in one session. Just depends what I'm doing. But I think the immediacy and the speed of it is what's appealing to me most. I'm really able to spend time mixing my colors on my palette, and comparing it and contrasting the warms and the cools and the values. It's really been exciting. I'm still going to be working on prints along with the oil paintings for the next few months. But where I want my next few prints to go, they're going to be more expressive. They're going to be a little bit more loose, meaning they're not going to be so dependent on these photographs. They're not going to be so detailed and layered like this print. It's going to be more expressive, more simple designs. And they're going to be based more on sketches from my sketchbook. I'll show you an example. Here's a little sketch I did. I have an idea. This idea I have, it's gonna be a landscape with it's gonna be a winter scene with a log coming through the composition, lots of trees, and then there's like 3 layers of distance, and it's gonna be this evening, snowy evening. It's hard to tell what it is, but this is just a rough sketch, trying to figure out where I want things to be placed. But it's gonna be a very kind of sunset winter scene, very cold with warm lights shining through, like as the sun's going down in the distance. So I want to do more prints based on my drawings, you know. So this is just like a little sketch I did of a tree just from my imagination. But I have this style of drawing, and I don't ever put it into my work. And this is just how I draw naturally, like hatching. So I really want to start showing my drawing hand in my prints. So that's my goal for my next couple prints. To work out the compositions through sketches, and to be a little bit more expressive with colors and textures. And not be so dependent on photographs. I get so sucked into the photograph or the image. And I always work from my own photography, from a moment or experience, from my own experience. So when I take those photos, I'm thinking of printmaking and composition before I take the photograph. I'm thinking about the composition, and I'm thinking about printmaking or painting. So it's really the first step. Deciding to take a photograph of something that I think could work as a composition. And I'll still work from photographs, but I think I'll just be doing some sketching from them, and then just referring to them for general color, just general things. And I'm not going to be working out Photoshop compositions. It's all going to be from sketching and from planning. Planning by hand. Yeah, thanks, Pam. Yeah, I'm like halfway through with that block. I haven't been working on it today. I've gotten the one tree's finished, the tree at the top, which was the hard part of the carving. There's a lot of details in there. This tree is much more simple and generic. It's just some texture. But this is the American cherry, and I love carving this stuff. It is so fun. It's just on birch plywood. Then there's some information that's in here that I don't know quite what I'm gonna do yet, so I just have to kind of make it up as I go along. But yeah, I'm even like carving the stippling from the marker. This was a tiny little marker sketch that I just blew up and pasted down. And then I'm going to be working all of the color blocks after I print this key block. I'm going to work all my color blocks from the line, so it'll be more like a traditional mokuhanga print. And I think I might do this one with water base first, and then maybe do a second color scheme. I don't know. I'm just going to do one at a time and see how it works. I might do like a day scene and a night scene with this one, I think. Or maybe do like a summer and a fall, something like that. But I will use this block more than once. And to utilize these things, try to get more compositions and more prints from the same key block, just because it takes so long to carve. What's the temperature down where you are, Pam? Just curious. Is it unbearable or is it kind of normal? Because up northeast we're in a heat dome. That's what they're calling it. And it's very hot. It's only 90? Wow. It's warmer here than it is there. That is crazy. It's like 100 today. Yesterday they said it felt like over, I think it was like, felt like 107 degrees when I looked at the weather. And they said it's not go outside and exercise because it's not good for you. I like to ride my bike, so I chose not to ride my bike yesterday because it was so hot. It's going to cool down here in the next couple of days. My son is finished with school. Tomorrow is his last day. See, like the air conditioner fan almost like very quiet. Almost turned off. So he's asking, what happens if you use water-based pigment after your oil? If I clean this oil off and I really scrub it clean right after I'm done using it, and I use some mineral spirits to really get through it, you can still use water-based. It just depends. If you load up the block over and over and over and over again with oil, that wood will soak in the oil pigment over time, and it will be harder to print with water-based pigments. But if you just let this oil dry on the block, you're not going to be able, the wood will not absorb the water. So you really have to clean it off very, very, very well. You can also, maybe when there's not this much detail, but if there are larger shapes, you can also sand with a light sandpaper, maybe like a 200 or 300 grit, and then it'll kind of open up the grain again. And I've done that, I did that on the other side multiple times. So yeah, this has had multiple layers, oops. This side has had multiple layers of oil, and I could print with this. I could print water-based from this because I cleaned it very well, and I did a light sandpaper over top of it every time. So I definitely could get some water-based pigment on that and work from that. I haven't experimented with it too much, but it does work. It's not ideal. You're better off having the block either be oil or water. But it can be done. We're moving along here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me again. I hope to do this rope, these little pieces next week sometime. So I'll include you in that one. Do another little live stream. And then this project will be wrapped up. Then after that, I'm gonna make a beginning to end YouTube video of this whole process. That'll probably be a longer video, maybe 12 or 14 minutes long, something like that. It might even have to be a 2-part video, I don't know. We'll see. And then this project will be done. I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to putting this print away, letting it be as it is, and just walking away from it. Hey Pam, do you feel the same way sometimes when you work on a quilt or something for a long period of time, and you're just like, I want to get this thing finished? Now when it's done, and you're like, all right, there it is, and now I can do something else. Yeah, well, I'm glad I'm not the only one. See, with oil painting, you can walk away at any time and be like, I like it where it is, I'm done. Or if it's not turning out the way you would like, you could always just cover it, start again, or you could just paint over it entirely and paint something separate on top of it. You have a lot of options with oil painting. But with these prints, you can't really make too many adjustments. You kind of just have to finish it. And when it's finished, it's all over. Let's see, we got 1 or 2 more to go. I don't really have anything planned when I do these live streams. I just kind of talking to myself. I'm talking to you, but I'm also just kind of rambling on. So I'm sorry if I'm not speaking very coherently. Just kind of chatting along the way. It is good practice, just talking to the camera. I'm talking to the 10 people or 8 people that are here. It's good practice. All right, last one for the day. This impression went by pretty quick. There. All right. So yes, now I can do another layer. Yeah, I can reduce this one more time. There's another value, another layer of lighter value in there if I really wanted to, but you know what? I'm calling it quits on this one. I'm happy. But that's funny. This thing's got, I'm going to count how many layers it is, but it's got to be at least 25 impressions, including the figure. There's like 8 impressions in the figure alone. And then there's at least 10 in the sky, and there's at least 10 here probably, so I'm thinking it's about 25 impressions altogether. But it's interesting to see how much depth and how much contrast, how much texture you can get. This believable space of like going into the distance to the horizon here. You know, the way I did the clouds, I've never really done a sky this way before, and it looks finished because it's almost finished. Just this little rope, I gotta not mess that up because it's a very small piece, so I'm gonna have to kind of do something interesting there so I can get a small roller. So I'm gonna have to get a little roller on that little rope. So I'll have to have some support here. and then maybe like a mask or something, just so I can. This is the smallest roller I have, and then I'll have to have some paper support, and it's going to be just a very delicate little impression. So that I'm going to have to figure something out for that. So I do have to figure out what color I want the rope. I'll take a photo of this image as it is after it dries, or scan it into my computer, and then I'll just play with some colors. You can think in like a red. It could be like a red or an orange, green. Maybe a bright, kind of a bright green color. I don't know. We'll play with a couple different ideas. You like the white? Yeah. Yeah, I could just do a gray, like a light gray color. Maybe a light gray. Just something where it's subtle. Like, I don't want it to pop out too much. I just want it to be there. So I kind of want it to be a secondary thing. But I do want it to see it. And it is a way to just kind of add another level of depth here in the rock, because this is coming towards the viewer. So it brings your eye into the composition, to the figure. It goes up off the page to the corner there. So yeah, I am happy with this. I was a little worried at the start of this, but the first one I did was very purple. I'll show you the first one I did, which is this one here. You could see how purple that was down at the bottom compared to this. And I was like, that's a little too cool for me. So I had to make that adjustment to the less intense purple there. Have it just more of a cool gray. So yeah, I'm happy. So thanks for watching, thanks for hanging out. I will see you again next week, hopefully, for this rope impression. Or I'll do these little pieces first. I don't know. I don't know what will come first. But you're going to have to line this up. It's going to be a very small area. We have to line it up perfect. And we have to have some paper support. And we have to be really careful when we apply it and when we print it. It's going to be very subtle. So we'll have to figure out what to do there. And the registration is going to have to be perfect as well. So we don't want to mess it up on the last little impression. Should have done the rope maybe earlier, but I don't know. I think it'll be okay. We'll figure it out. So bye-bye for now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. Stay cool, stay hydrated. Stay safe.